Today we're going to take care of a large dent, but instead of banging it out from the inside and possibly damaging the interior in the process, we're going to weld some shims in some strategic places and pull it using a frame machine. And here's a close-up shot of that dent, and it extends from up here all the way down here to all the way to the door. And we're going to use a shim that looks like this, and we're going to weld it probably right in here, maybe a couple here, here, and maybe down here. And we're just going to MIG weld it, grind this clean and MIG weld it right there, and then we'll be able to use a hook on a chain like this and just hook right into those shims. After we have our shims welded into place, we then can make some pulls. And I didn't use a stud welder because sometimes these studs can pull off, and they are a little bit weaker than these shims. These shims have 1, 2, 3, 4 welds, so there's 2 welds on each leg. They're very strong. Then after we get it close, we can use a stud welder and finish up. The first pull will be right on the edge. We're just going to try to, this is a little bit flat right here, and we're going to just try to get it to curve to match this guy. Now, I do have some tension on there, and I'm just going to tap. You might think I'm tapping light, but that little bit of tapping right here and here really helped to bring to pop this out. So it looks like I'm hitting light, but it's actually doing something. So there's sort of a crown right there, you know, a high spot, and maybe, you know, this is a firm spot too. So we're going to hit both of those because those are essentially the high spots. And it's not really making a dent right there, it's just helping this. When I get there, this is also yanking. And if it pulls off, that's okay. Just that shock through the metal, and you can see this start to come out a little bit. And that's good for that right now. I'm going to move to this guy, then probably this guy, come down and get this guy will be last, and this guy. So last. To operate the frame machine, you have a foot pedal. So to pull, you would hit this. And to release, you would hit this. And this will be the second pull. And again, these are our high spots, and this is the low spot. So we're going to be pulling from this low spot while we're hitting the high spots. Now we might not get it out all the way, but that's fine because we'll move to here, 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 and back and forth. And I'm happy with that. I know I got a little ding right in here, but it's coming out. So we're not going to force it and go too crazy and make a high spot here. So we'll let off, and then we'll move to this guy. And now for this little area, and again, here's the crown, here's the high spot. So when I pull this, I'm going to be hitting on that. And in this case, I'm going to hit sometimes with the sharp point of the hammer, because that's a sharp little crown. I want to knock him down, or I can hit with this. We'll give it a little more. And the good thing is that this keeps pressure on it while I hit the high spots. And the pointy part of the hammer, I can really concentrate on some high little crowns. And now I'm going to move to this guy, and we're going to work our way from the worst to the least. And now the next. And you heard the pop, and that's fine. The metal may be stretched, and it may pop in and out when we're done, but that's okay because we can shrink it down. And now, I imagine the high spots are around the perimeter. So we're just going to tap around and see if we can find any of those crowns and knock those down. And you may, the metal may pop in and out again, like I said. But we're just being gentle, hitting on some high spots. Hopefully it works its way out. And I think that's good for that area. And here's a shot from a distance so you can see exactly what's happening. I'm going to hit this pedal to pull. And I'm looking for high spots. And down in here it's a little bit low, but we're going to use the stud welder on that. So now we're just going to move to this one, and I'm just going to release. And now for the last one, we'll just put it up there. Now that we're finished with the heavy pulling, we can unhook and use a die grinder like this, and we're just going to cut these shims off. Take a good look at it, see what needs to be pulled a little bit more, and we're going to use a stud welder for that. We can use a vice grips like this to clamp down onto these studs, and we're going to pull all 4 of these guys at once. We're going to be using an alignment bar or a pogo stick, and we're just going to gently pull back on those studs and hit the crown areas. So I'm going to pull back, and we're just going to lightly tap the high areas. And that should be good. Now I'm going to move to here, here, and here, and then I have a couple of low spots right there. After I finish that up, we'll grind the area clean and fill it. Many times you'll find that after fixing a large area like this, you have spots that pop in and out, and that's called oil canning, and it's from severe stretching of the metal. One thing you can do is use a torch and heat up the area, smack it right in the middle, and cool it off. And that's what these little spots are right here. I had some oil canning, and now it springs, but it doesn't pop in and out like this. So what we can do is take a torch, and we're just going to find the very center of that. We don't want it popping. This is good. This is good. Look at that. That's good. That's all good. It doesn't pop. But this, we don't want that. So what you can do, again, take the torch, find that spot, and we're just going to heat it up right there, right in the center of that oil can. And you want to get a little red dot, almost red dot. And then we can hit it with the hammer right in the middle of that guy. And then we can cool it off using water or air. And you can see it shrink right back down. When it cools and you've ground the area clean, you will be left with a small ding, but no more oil canning. That's a small price to pay for getting rid of a frustrating problem. For more information on this topic, I'll put a link up above. A couple other things that are important before we fill this is I did pull the striker in order to be able to see inside here and be able to blow air inside here in case we had a little bit of smoke or fire. Two important things you want to remember before you fill it is there should be no oil canning and there should be no high spots. And you can use a straight edge like this and run it along there and make sure you don't see any high spots. If you do, you're going to have to tap them down. After filling in a few low spots to get it close, I spread filler across the whole panel, and now we're going to cheese grade some of this off. This is actually very thin, so we're just going to cheese grade some of this off, and then we'll hit it with the Bondo hog and a longboard. So this saves you a lot of breathing dust. We're going to get it real close with this guy. And now we're going to hit it with the Bondo hog with a fresh piece of 40 grit on there. And we're going to stay around here and sort of use these nice straight edges for a guide and work our way to the middle. And I'm going to concentrate on taking this whole thing down all at once, not focusing on one specific area, but the whole thing down all at once. And once again, we're going to use a brand new sheet of 40 grit so that it cuts through on a longboard. And that's it. I just have a tiny little bit of a low spot I have to fill in right here and right here. When I get that done, all cleaned up and a coat of primer on it, I'll be back. This panel was repaired from the outside so that the interior could stay intact. There's no oil canning, it'll last forever, and there's actually very little filler that was used. I hope you enjoyed this video on pulling a dent from the outside using a frame machine. And if you did, and you'd like to get my latest videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.